Leye Adenle is a Nigerian-born crime thriller author known for his gripping and suspenseful stories that explore the darker side of human nature. His debut novel, Is Emotion Tourist, won the prestigious Prix Marianne in France 2016. Adenle's writing is characterized by its vivid description of Nigerian society, which he portrays with a gritty realism that captures the complexity of life in a country that is often misunderstood by outsiders. His novels delve into issues such as corruption, inequalities, and violence, which also exploring the humanity of his characters and the choices they make in the face of adversity. In addition to his writing, Adenle is a frequent speaker on issues related to African literature and culture and has given talks at universities and library festivals around the world. He's also an advocate for gender equality, and his writing often explores the experiences of women in Nigerian society. With a growing reputation as one of the most exciting voices in contemporary crime fiction, Leye Adenle's works have been praised for its sharp prose, memorable characters, and afflicting portrayals of the darker side of human nature. And on today's episode of Author Interview, it's a pleasure to have Leye Adenle on the show. Welcome on the show, Leye.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you featured on P English Literature.
I am excited to be here, my brother.
Yeah. So Leye, reading your book, The Beautiful Side of the Moon, was quite amazing to me. And I'm curious to ask you how the book came about. I mean, what inspired you to write The Beautiful Side of the Moon?
Well, my first novels were part of my Amaka crime thriller series.
Yeah.
And I have a certain niece and nephew. I can see their picture right there on my board. And they couldn't read these books because they were very young.
Oh.
And Easy Motion had just come out. Easy Motion Tourist had just come out. But these two very amazing cousins of mine, niece and nephew rather of mine,
Yeah.
couldn't read it because, it's got adult themes throughout, right?
Yeah.
And they wanted something, that they could read, a book of mine that they could read. And that's where the idea came for The Beautiful Side of the Moon. It's a book that it's adult, and yet it's not, not in the sense of adult content, but in the sense that speaks to the adult, all right, at different levels, and it also speaks to children. Children can read it, tweens, people in the early, 10s, 11, 12, they would get it, but perhaps the message they would get would be different from what an adult would get from it.
Yeah, that's great because I can actually relate while I read it. It's quite an amazing one to me. I really do enjoy it. And I also see that you have another book titled Sunshine Knolls. For readers who haven't read Sunshine Knolls yet, and without giving much information away, could you have a sneak of what we'd expect picking up Sunshine Knolls?
Yeah, so Sunshine Noir is a collection of short stories by various amazing crime authors. And I'm just very blessed, to have been given the opportunity to be in an anthology with, the likes of Chris Abani, who curated it. One of my heroes in African writing, Nnedi Okorafor. So many other people contributed to it. Sorry, that's Lagos Noir. Apologies, I was talking about another one. That's Lagos Noir, which, all these people contributed to that. So I have a story in Lagos Noir. Sunshine Noir is people who write what we call Sunshine Noir, crime thrillers that happen in places where the sun is bright, the tropics and stuff like that. Because of a saying we have that, the crimes are darker where the sun shines, the shadows are darker where the sun shines the brightest. So in Sunshine Noir, I was lucky to be invited to be part of this amazing authors from all over the world writing Sunshine Noir. And my contribution, short story contribution to the anthology, The Assassination, was shortlisted, was a finalist for the Prime CWA Daggers Award, which, you know, I saw I saw it posted online and I freaked out because, you know, I almost wasn't in that anthology.
Oh,
At the very last minute, they made space for me, you know, and I've just made amazing friends. I've met amazing people. The group that invited me in, and then the story that they take from me, you know, they asked me for a story, and the story I gave them, The Assassination, boom, goes and becomes a finalist for the Crime WA Daggers Award. That was a very amazing thing. Yeah, that's what that book is. So I would implore your followers, you know, if you like amazing, very lean, very beautiful written, very original short stories, Sunshine Noir and Lagos Noir. Lagos Noir is, you know, just crime thrillers, noir, dark fiction, right?
yeah.
In Lagos.
Oh.
And he has all those amazing people I mentioned and more who contributed to that anthology. Yeah. So yeah, Lagos Noir, Sunshine Noir, get them.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. And I love the sound of both. They sound very amazing to me. I'd be willing to check them up afterwards. Now, Leye, I also see that you have another book. We have Easy Motion Tourist, which is the first book in the series of Amaka thriller series. Would you be willing to tell us a bit about Easy Motion Tourist as well?
Oh yeah, Easy Motion Tourist, my first baby. So it's the story of Amaka Mbadiwe, a lawyer who runs a charity called the Street Samaritans in Lagos. The charity looks out for vulnerable women, you know, women on the streets, young women homeless young women, or just vulnerable. And what the charity does for them is it gives them counseling, educational support, financial support, stuff like that. Even provides for them a hostel where they can be safe. This is what Amaka does officially. She runs the Street Samaritans, but secretly, she keeps a record of Lagos men who use sex workers. The women themselves give her the details when they've been with a client. Now, Amaka keeps this record so that she can protect the women. So when a woman turns up on the streets for the first time, you know, at a red light district, the other ladies will tell her about this phone number that nobody knows who's behind the number. But if you text the plate number of a car, any car, to that phone number, they'll be able to tell you what they know about the person, or if they don't know the person, you know. And they'll be able to tell you whether or not the person is safe to go with, you know, because some people are on Amaka's records that they've picked up women, sex workers, and then they've gone on to brutalize them, to steal from them, to falsely, to give false, you know, statements against them, you know, with the police, to rape them. Even to kill them. So Amaka does this secret thing to protect the woman. And our greatest fear is the day a woman would turn up killed because she did not warn them. The series opens on that day, the first book, Easy Motion Tourist.
Wow, that's amazing. That's quite a lot to take in, you know. I love the sound. I love the sound of that.
Yeah.
And I want to make me to ask, you know, as authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and criticism of our works. I'm curious to know your opinion about criticism. How do you react to negative criticism of your books if you've ever had one in time past?
Yeah, well, the worst review I've ever had Actually, I won't talk about that one. That's too close to home. One of the worst reviews I ever had was for The Beautiful Side of the Moon. You know, when someone said I was trying to be what's his name? I'll come back to it when I remember. It's a good story. Anyway, it's a good story. When I remember the name, because the name is quite important to the story, I'll come back to it. How do I take criticism? Like any other person, you know, my brain overlooks all the praise, all the 5-star reviews, all the this book was, you know, and focuses on the negative review. Reason, you know, we are biologically evolved to react to any form of criticism as a danger to our very life, you know, because, you know, when we were developing our consciousness and what we are now, humans, to be criticized, you know, meant to be pushed out, you know, to be, you know, kicked out of the protective clan. Absolutely. And if they reject you, in those days, you know, before we had language or thereabouts, to be rejected by your family or your communities to die, because, you know, you don't have the protection of the numbers. And for that reason, our brain, our body rather, still thinks that any form of criticism is an attempt to kill us, you know. And in my mind, I'll be thinking this one negative remark is going to be read by everybody who wants to buy my book, and they'll never buy the book for that reason, and I'll never be able to write again, which is not true, obviously.
Absolutely.
So knowing this, that I'm human, and that's the way I normally react to a negative review, I allow myself the first beautiful few moments of thinking all sorts of evil about the person that gave that bad review. And when I've had that moment, you know, when I've called them a son of and a child of and whatever in my head, I've let it out of myself, and then I laugh at myself, and then I read the comments again, so I can determine if it's a comment to ignore or if there's 1% in it that is useful. And then I move on.
Wow, that's a great one. I love your reaction to criticism. That's quite amazing to know. That's quite amazing. I also see that you have another one that's When Trouble Sleeps is a second series in the Marker Thriller series. You know, following on from the first series and without giving much information away as well, could we have a sneak of what we'd expect picking up When Trouble Sleeps?
Oh, When Trouble Sleeps, Yanga Go Wake Up. Oh, well. So in When Trouble Sleeps, a very nasty man is about to become the forerunner to become the governor of Lagos State. Oh. By some stroke of luck or extreme bad luck for the state, somebody who wasn't even in line to run for governor of Lagos State suddenly found it, you know, they had fallen upon his lap to become the next governor of Lagos State. Now, this person is known to Amaka because of what Amaka does, because of this secret service she provides to, you know, sex workers, you know, this database she holds of information about these men who, you know, patronize sex workers in Nigeria, in Lagos. So Amaka knows that this man of, you know, a lot of men are crap, but this particular man, his sins are of a nature that if he were to become governor of Lagos, it's not even about what he would do alone, but about the disgrace when his sins come out. And it will be a national disgrace, you know, that Nigeria had a governor of Lagos State who had done these things. So Amaka has this information, but the problem is this dude knows that Amaka has this information. So this dude must get to Amaka, not just him, but the entire political party behind him must must take care of Amaka before she can release the information.
Oh.
Only problem is that what he doesn't know is that Amaka has lost that information.
Oh, wow.
But they don't know she hasn't lost it.
Yeah.
And so it is a race between the two camps,
Wow.
kind of, to see who can outwit the other.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. I really love the sound of your book.
That's when trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Really amazing. They sound quite intriguing to me. And I'm a very huge fan of crime thrillers and science fiction and the likes. It's quite amazing to know about.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, now
I'm particularly a fan of African fiction these
yeah,
days.
I see. It's amazing.
I'm discovering so many voices, so many perspectives. I mean, growing up and reading a lot of literature that is still Eurocentric, I knew more about Bond Street, right, in England than I knew about neighborhoods in Ibadan where I grew up predominantly, And why? Because the literature I was consuming was familiarizing myself with these far-flung places. And so right now, I am discovering Africa at that level that I discovered the rest of the world through reading. I am discovering the rest of Africa through just some of the most beautiful writing. No, not beautiful writing out of Africa. Some of the most beautiful writing I've ever read.
Wow.
And it is all from African authors. It's like our music. It's like, Amapiano and Afrobeats. That's the sound of the world, of a generation, this generation,
Yeah.
And that same way that we're listening to our own music, we're wearing our hair, in our own styles, we're returning to our own local spiritual consciousness, right? The same way our writing is just, man, it's blazing. You need to read the writers, right? Walking out of Africa right now. It's just, it's mind-blowing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's changing the world. I love that. I love that. Now, I also want to ask you, Leye, apart from The Beautiful Side of the Moon, Lagos Noir, and the Amaka Thriller series, do you have any other works you've authored or currently working on?
Yes, actually. I have my very first complete manuscript I lost. My second complete manuscript I wrote in longhand. I still have it. It's called Boys Club. The first one was called Alarika, Yoruba word for wanderer.
Yeah,
but I lost the manuscript. I wrote that after I read The Famished Road by Ben Okri.
Wow.
And it just appealed to me what he was doing, like Fagunwa's books, like in a way, even like Amos Tutuola, and it grabbed me, and I just wanted to write something like that. Unfortunately, I lost that handwritten manuscript. And then so there are manuscripts I have that I'm not going to show anybody, but I'm not going to get rid of them. There's some I've lost. But to answer your question, what else have I written? I have written, I published anonymously a few years ago, over 10 years ago, a story, a novel that was serialized online. So there was a chapter, I think I wrote a chapter every day, for like 30 days or so, live. I called it the unedited something. Anyway, because it was not edited, it was just post. No editing, no reading through it, just post it, right?
Wow.
And it is called rather, Chronicles of a Ron's Girl. And it's still available online, and it has been plagiarized. Lord have mercy. At first, when I published it, anonymously, but the website I published it on, wazobiareport.com, satire website, carries a copyright notification. I should know. I built the site, you know.
Wow.
And
Wow.
at first, when I would get Google alerts on on the topic,
It's cool.
on the title, and they would be coming from other website that was copying verbatim the stories as I was writing it.
Wow.
I sent so many cease and desist, but after a time, I'm like, you know what? I'll let them continue. And one day when I see one of them making money from it, I'll go and sue them for all of that money.
Wow.
Because we just don't respect intellectual property.
Whoa.
It is very painful that people will tell you, right? People will tell you, oh, you're a writer. Yes. Oh, okay. Can I have a PDF of your book? Like, really? You're asking for my work for free. You understand? Or people will go and, copy and share PDF of your book. How do you expect the writer, the artist to feed, to be able to sustain a life that allows them to continue creating, Well, anyway, so that's one that I wrote anonymously and online, and it's still there on wazobiareports.com. And it's called Chronicles of a Runs Girl. Interestingly, I wrote that after I finished writing Easy Motion Tourist. When I was done with writing that, I then wrote that story. So that story also features an Amaka that is totally different from the Amaka of Easy Motion Tourist. However, the two Amakas meet at some point in that story. I won't give that away. Oh, by the way, that's this series I'm telling you about is now going to be available in Nigeria on an app called Gent. Hold on, I want to say it properly.
Okay.
It's an audio app. They're doing the recording now. They have an amazing actor, lady who's doing the
voiceover.
Yes. Who's doing it's called Genti. GENTI. It's not African content, and this is a part of this thing that is happening with us, with our music, with our art, with our fashion, with our spirituality, right? This is a Nigerian African company, indigenous, right? Young people your age, doing this thing, and I've given them the rights to the story. So they're going to do a dramatical reading of it. I listened to a sample of the first chapter and it gave me goosebumps.
Wow.
Yeah, it's coming out. It's going to be available very soon on Genti app, which you can download the app now.
Wow, I'm writing it down. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, I can send you details so you can send to your followers as well.
Yeah, that'll be great. I love
know about it,
Yeah.
Imagine if all Afrobeat music, right?
Yeah.
All came out on only one platform, and that platform was owned by the musicians, with the Afrobeat musicians as a collective.
It would have been amazing,
Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine us being the ones to now give terms to iTunes.
Absolutely.
Give terms to Spotify.
That'll be
so
great.
They're not giving us terms. We're the ones saying to them, well, if you want our content is on our terms and these are our terms. And we have the power because it's our content.
Absolutely.
Now, what we just need to do is marry our content to our own platforms.
Well, yeah.
So platforms like this, like Okada Books, right?
Yeah.
Like Genti, thing that is owned by us, right? We give rights, we do it through that. We complete the loop,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah, this is why I'm excited about this. I'm really excited. When they told me what they wanted, because a lot of people have come for the rights to that story, from movie rights to stuff to series rights. But when they told me what they wanted to do, I was like, you know what? Yes, let's do it. Like I said, I listened to the sample clip. I wish they would allow me to share it.
Oh,
You know, it
wow.
was just, yeah, it came alive,
Wow.
because the opening scene of the story, I'm not giving too much away. The opening scene is on Falomo Bridge
Oh,
in the middle of the night
wow.
in Lagos, you
Wow.
know, and it's drama on the bridge at like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
The way this lady voiced it,
Wow.
man,
That
I can't wait for it to come.
That's amazing.
For real, man, for real.
That's amazing. I love your description of this. That's great, great.
It's they're doing great things, and it's not just them, they are Genti, and
Mm,
there's Okada Books,
yeah,
another platform. And if we can get all our things on these platforms, wow,
to be
you know,
great.
yeah, we will
Great.
own our own creativity. If Africans could own, not just the IP, the rights to their works, but also the machinery behind distributing it and
Mm,
marketing it and all of that.
yeah.
I mean, the cultural capital we have right now in my entire life, right? My
Yeah.
entire life, never experienced it. I
Wow.
grew up listening to Shalama, to their great acts, to Prince, to all of them, to Kool and the Gang, because that was what people listened to.
Back
You
then.
know, my friends, the most popular kid in primary school was one dude. He came back from holiday and he had Michael Jackson's jacket from Thriller. He
Oh.
was the most popular kid in primary school because of that jacket. But today, who cares if you're wearing
At
uh,
all.
some American
No
Axe
one
jacket?
cares,
Like,
you know.
no, no, we want to see you with a grill like Ashake's.
Yeah. I love
We
that.
want to be like us. We want to. So
Absolutely.
it's an amazing time to be African because of these people, because
Absolutely.
of this. From here to Amapiano,
Mm,
and we've been doing this amazing music for a long time, all over the continent. But right now, you know, times have changed, and they've changed in our favor, and we just need to seize the rest of it.
yeah.
We just grab the rest of it. Yeah.
That would be great. And this also one will make me to ask you, as a published author of quite a lot of books, I'm curious to ask you what sort of advice you have for other writers who are still struggling with publishing a book like yours. What do you tell people in this category?
I've given different answers to this very question before.
Mm.
That's why tonight I'm really thinking of right now, because my answer yesterday will be different from my answer today. So my answer at the beginning of my career is different from every stage of my career. So right now, at this point in my career and my own life, as it were,
Yeah.
what advice would I give to other writers who are not yet published? I consider you a writer if you
Mm.
write,
Yeah.
published or not. It's quite a few. One would be about the mechanisms of the instruments of the craft, about just the art itself. And the one thing, the first thing I would say to someone who's struggling and you're writing is, does the writing give you joy?
That's a good question.
If it does, then keep writing,
Mm.
and keep trying to get published. And if you don't get published, so what? Right. Some people will read it. Writing is very much for me, I don't know about other people,
Yeah.
is very much very, very similar to the feeling of reading a great book. Because with a great book, I don't know what's going to come next.
Yeah.
I'm eager to see, whoa, is this plane going to crash for real, for real?
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen. Will this kid grow up? Will
Yeah.
this old gentleman finally start living a life? These are the story questions that keep us glued to the story, to the book.
Yeah.
And for me, writing is like that because I'm also experiencing, and I'm the first person experiencing this amazing book for the first time. Of course, it's going to be amazing to me. I'm writing it. So I derive joy from writing. I write every day, and I'm not even joking.
Wow.
Every single day I write, yeah? And I derive so much joy from it that as of now, my other career is paying for my writing career.
That's amazing.
And I'm happy. Yeah, I am happy, you know. So that's the first question, right? Does it give you joy when you write? If it does, enjoy it. Don't lose something that gives you joy because it's therapy. It's mindfulness sometimes. It's self-discovery, you know, it's everything. Right? But if you can also just learn to enjoy the craft itself, like a hobby.
Yeah.
It's a hobby. It's exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
Do you enjoy this hobby of writing? Do it. Go to book fairs. Go to book festivals. Read books on writing. You know what? You have some money, you have an opportunity. Do a degree in writing, right? Do a master's, do something, you know.
Yeah.
Meet writers. Publish your stuff, just put it onto the internet, see what the world says, you know, but just keep writing because you enjoy it. The other advice I would give is study it. Study writing. Don't, you know, when I used to write as a very young child, like in my 11, 12, and I'm trying to
sorry,
write.
I want to say that we have 4 minutes left for the conversation.
Oh, sorry, I've gone on too long. But okay, second advice is study the craft.
Yeah.
You know, talent is bullshit. It doesn't really exist. Right? Practice and learning. You need to read, study, practice, write every day, you know, till it comes natural to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your advice. And I'm hopeful that the viewers, including myself, would love to utilize it. And I've left a link in the description part of this conversation to Leye Adenle's books on Amazon and on other platforms where interested viewers can get a copy directly. So thank you so much, Leye Adenle, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's a pleasure having you on the show.
The pleasure is mine. Eshe Goni.
Yeah, that's great.
Bro.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's my joy. It's my pleasure.